This is gonna be a hard one to prove, though. I have an idea with the sprinklers.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Okay.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Really? Okay, so it's the first one, apparently.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock.
There we go.
No, it's wrong.
This trial seems a little wonky on its objections.
Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words?
No, no, no.
I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
No, what?
You're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Oh, I have to actually do a battle? Okay.
I admit nothing. No, no, no! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. No, no, no! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I'm right about this. I admit nothing. No, no, no! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. No, no, no! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing.
Okay, final strike.
How can you say it wasn't the sprinkler?
This should prove it.
Yeah. Oh, things are getting rough for me.
Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac! I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on.
Yes.
The reason only the top half was wet was because while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
Yeah.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
Which is a much smaller
Makoto's
time.
alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Kyoko's the only one without an alibi. Which would mean that Makuro's murder is... No, I refuse to believe it. Kyoko murdered someone?
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me, and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game, and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial. Something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Why would Kyoko say that? Why would she want to make me look like the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. That's hard. It was used the way... It was used... Ooh. My apologies. My throat is gone. If it was used the way Kyoko said, that tarp must have touched the body, right? But that body...
Wait. Something's not right.
And what might that be?
I can't worry about Kyoko's motivations. If I don't do anything, everyone's gonna think I'm the killer. So I have to refute what Kyoko says.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
Yeah, okay.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water.
What? How the hell?
Shoot!
By covering the body with the killer prevented it.
So the reason the tarp was only because the sprinkler got
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless.
It's because that side was protected, but since it was facing down toward, of course it didn't get dirty!
No.
God damn it. I'm so tight for fucking attempts.
Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it. Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
But then it would
If
have
they
been wet.
had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh, yeah, true.
More than that, what if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage? What if, after the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinklers, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim?
You mean someone else's blood? Where would they get something like that?
The nurse's
I know.
office.
They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office.
Interesting.
That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
No, that's not what happened this time. The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
What? Ah.
Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder, there were only 4.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken and then covered the body with its blood? Man, that's messed up.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The ground was completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
No, it was backwards.
I think so. Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up. What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off, but the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body. The coat they'd already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off, at 7:30.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe. But still,
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
that's not...
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
Why is Kyoko trying to entrap me? Don't understand.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide? Let's flip a coin. 50-50 odds.
Oh!
See? Pretty good idea, right?
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
You know that knife we found all black and burnt?
Ah, damn it.
One we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right? According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before. That's what I thought when I first saw it. I just remembered.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyoko.
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah,
Then why did you hide that fact?
it's not that I hid it. It's just...
I couldn't be sure of what actually happened last night. I thought maybe I really did kill her.
Suspicious! Very suspicious indeed. The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
Jesus. Considering everything up until now, I should be able to make it clear. I have to prove that I didn't murder anyone. I'm not the killer. Am I actually gonna die? Is Makoto actually gonna die at this point? This seems crazy.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto.
Man, this one's a lot harder.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it?
So disguised body
afraid
before
of that.
explosion, exploded body
If he did
analysis.
have that knife before,
Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Exploded body analysis. Yeah, that's not important. When the body was found. That doesn't really matter. Body before explosion. Disguised dead body.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question.
Wait, is it? Is that actually what killed her?
You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found lodged in the dead...
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is,
I'm gonna
isn't
try
it?
something, but it might get me
I was
killed.
afraid of it.
If he did have that knife before, that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
Nope. Damn it.
Shoot!
I don't have
The
much
knife
time.
we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
I don't know
If
what.
he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me
I might
the
have to go
killer?
through this entire trial again.
Well,
Holy
getting
shit.
stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The The knife we
Whoops.
found lodged in the dead
I
body.
gotta stop doing that. So, what are the things that I have that I can use in this trial?
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
Exploded
It
body,
really is, isn't it?
analysis,
I was afraid.
fragments,
If he did have that knife before,
body
then
found,
that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife
disguised,
once, that automatically makes me the killer?
dead,
Well, getting stabbed is what killed
body,
her, right? So there's no question. You took that
before
knife of yours and killed her with it.
the
What a horrible man you are, Makoto.
Okay, so the exploded body analysis. I'm pretty sure this has nothing to do with it. The fragments near the dead body. So that was the bomb, and I already tried that. When the body was found. I don't think this has anything important. Disguised body. Body before the explosion. Wait, hold on. I just thought of something that would make it impossible for me to be the killer. And that was the bomb. I'm probably gonna have to start this over, but I'm gonna try this again.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well,
I'm gonna try this, but I'm probably gonna lose. Yeah, alright. Well, I lost. We get to see what a game over looks like. Yep. Nobody believes me. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Oh, if we come to the end of a debate already? Well then, the class trial is officially adjourned. Now it's time to reveal who's the blackened. What happened to be most votes is Makoto. However, Makoto is not the blackened. Too bad. Looks like the real killer gets to congratulates to them. On the other hand, everyone else must now be punished.
Is this really the end for all of us?
Of course.
I refuse to give up yet.
Oh, cool. I didn't know I would get another chance at this. This is actually great. Okay, but then I still don't know what to go off of.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it?
if he did have that knife before,
That seals it. Just because I that automatically make.
well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto.
I'm gonna try this one more time.
The knife we found lodged in.
It's the same one.
Fuck. Nope. Okay.
Shoot.
I'm gonna try one more thing, and I mean,
It's the same one.
I've already thought I was gonna lose
Did
once.
have that seals it. Just because I had the knife, that automatically makes me the killer.
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right?
Fucking Christ, what does it want me to say?
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
I'm gonna try something
So
else.
there's no. You took that knife.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found, Vlog.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that knife, that seals it. Just because I had that automatically, well...
Getting stabbed is what killed her.
No.
Shoot!
I am completely out of ideas.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it?
Like, I don't see how any of these things correlate to what is going on. Fuck. Yeah, this has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna just try something else.
Before, then
That seals it. Just because I had that automatic, well...
getting stabbed is what...
Okay.
No.
Cool. That was the only other thing I could think of. Without just starting to randomly shoot.
Wait, hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her!
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the tarp, and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body, the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
I got it!
Nope. Stabbed
The
a single
Monokuma
time.
file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. Totally forgot about that.
Then the knife...
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her. Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing. The explosion severely damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence
Okay.
proving otherwise.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kind of goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway? Why'd the body just blow up all of a sudden like that?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum particle cause an atomic level spontaneous combustion.
No.
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Thank you,
Go
Hina.
ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make any headway on this.
I got it!
Easy.
After the explosion, we found a tiny fragment of something on the ground near the body, right? That fragment reveals the cause of the explosion.
Huh? You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural. Because, of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma. It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb.
Anyway, the culprit's motive is becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto. And the only one who would benefit from that is the only other possible suspect. You, Kyoko.
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through. We still don't know what actually killed the victim.
That's true. It's definitely bugging me. What really killed her?
Anyone could have killed
Fine.
her.
I have no problem with that. Let us continue the debate. It won't change the facts of the case regardless.
Need to concentrate.